Hello everyone, how are you doing today? Welcome back to our session number 3, which is JWT token. So our today agenda is to discuss about this topic which is listed here. So today we will be discussing about what is JWT, need of JWT, structure of the JWT. In the structure we will be covering what are headers, what are payloads, what is signature of JWT. Is JWT really safe? Access token versus refresh token. We will be discussing about on public and private key RSA key, how we basically generate the RSA public and private key, how server validate the JWT token. So secret versus public private key pairs, which one is the best, what are the advantages, what are the disadvantages, and some of the best practices. So these are all of the topics what we are going to cover. So without wasting our time, let's get started. So our first topic is what is JWT. So if we'll go in a traditional client server architecture where we were having one client and one server, where we use user ID and password to connect to the server, which I have already discussed in a very detailed view on our first video session. I will highly recommend to go have a look into it. So what client, this is a client and this is a server. There's two party which they are trying to communicate with each other. So first of all, client will pass the user ID and password into the login page, and it will be redirected to the server. Server will probably go to the database and check whether this client exists in our database or not. If it exists, they will check the password also. If it is correct, it will pull all some of the information about the user into the application, and then this server will create one session for it and store into the server. Okay, and then this with the session ID, and this session ID they will send it to the client. Okay, and this session ID will holding some information also about the client. Okay, then this client will actually store this session information into either in the cookies, whatever mechanism they use it to store it into the client. And then what server say is like, whenever you will coming to the next time, you will carry this session with your request, okay, with session ID, and then we'll go and validate this session ID into what I have previously generated. If it looks good, I will be returning a response for you. Okay, but what is the problem? It looks seems like everything works well and good, but what was the problem here? There is a problem actually. If you see it closely, this is a monolithic architecture, and it's a traditional way for the client and server architecture. But nowadays we are moving into the microservices architecture, where our components will be deployed into multiple servers, maybe here or here. Okay, in our microservices architecture, how it works is our components will be deployed in different servers. Suppose that is S1, S2, S3, S4, S4. So, and on the middle there will be load balancer. So suppose that first client is making request for to authenticate it. They have passed the user ID and password. Well and good. It has been redirected to S1, and then S1 have validated, okay, this it probably will go to the common database and check whether this is correct or not. If it is validated, S1 will create a session for this user, and they will store into the server. Then they will return back with the session ID, and this session ID, it will be stored by this client. Well and good, very good. But for the further request, when it will make this attaching this session ID with it, maybe this server is very busy. This server S1 is very busy, and load balancer, what their algorithm says is like, if it is busy, you redirect to some other server which is maybe idle. So it has been redirected to S4, but S4 will try to figure it out. This session ID, with this session ID, does we do have some certain data on it in our server. It will figure it out. Look, there is no information about this session ID. Asks user to provide their authenticity once again. But wait, this user will say, I've just 1 minute back or 50 seconds back, I have already logged in. I provide the authenticity. Why you're asking me once again? Right? So this is the problem, right? The problem here, if you'll see it closely here, is like because the server is maintaining all these sessions, right, in it. Maybe in a microservices architecture, what will happen is the session what you're creating for specific for the first user, maybe the session will be stored in some different server, and for the subsequent request, it is going on some another server. So the problem, actually the problem here, it is this one. Okay, so we have one solution for it. What solution we do have is like maintain a session server. Okay, and this is the session server. This session server will be holding all the sessions information into it, and before going to redirecting to any of the servers, this session will be validated already here, and they will redirect it to specified server wherever you want to. So, but the problem is like this session, this is one time failure issue. Maybe suppose that this session server is down or crashed or something happened with this one, with this session server, it may be a problem for you. Again, because your application will keep asking to the client that please authenticate yourself, and that's not make very much sense for me also. So this is a problem actually if we do have a lakhs of user in future, maybe for storing all those lakhs of user information into the session server is really, it's a hacky. So you should have to maybe maintain a lot of session servers also in future. So there is a problem. So the session what you're sending it to the client, maybe in the middleman, someone somehow they get it, that session ID, they will probably prepare a new request with that session ID, and they can send it to the server will definitely validate because this is still active, the session is still active, and they can get your resources. To resolve this problem, how do you think like this can be resolved? So one problem we are majorly seeing it like the servers is storing the session information, right? Or maybe the session server is storing multiple session user based specific information. So if you have understood the previous problem what we have discussed clearly, then what is the big problem now? It is the big problem is the session information what we are storing into the server, that is creating a huge problem, right? And that's just assume it like in future your application is very public, and then it is growing gradually. So at that time your server, they have to scale it in a very proper way. Each and every time you should have to scale it, and you should have to maintain your session server also, because at some times if request is coming more and you're storing the client information into the server, then probably it may crash, because in future you may be getting 10 lakhs of requests per day. Okay, so this is a problem to how basic. And one more problem is like this is a client information you are storing into, and that's a very sensitive information you are storing into the server. If somehow it is compromised, or something on the middleman, someone is trying to manipulate your session ID, and then they are sending preparing one more request and sending to the your server to validate it, maybe it will cause another problem, right? So this is a huge problem, and in traditional way we in traditionally we have faced this problem actually. So how people overcome this problem? So this is where the JWT comes into the picture. So JWT what say it says is like, you please do not store any information into the server. Okay, but hold on. If you'll not store any information into the server, how the client will validate it? Like suppose that is a client and there's a server, first request they authenticated, and they want to see some information from here, like a profile picture or something, they want to see it. So they are making another request with the session ID. Again, what you will say? You please validate. Again, they will go to the login, and then they will validate it. This is a problem, and it's, if you'll see it, it's rounding it up, right? Again and again, you should have to validate your authenticity. So this application, maybe it's again a design problem. So this is where the JWT comes into the picture, and now it is very popular. What JWT say is like, please do not store any information of the client into the server. Okay, it will not hold any information, client specific information into the server. But hold on, if this session ID it will not store on the server, again the same problem you will getting it, because first of all you will make a request with the user ID and password. Server will generate the session ID and they will send it to you back, right? But if they will, the server will not store it. Once you're coming back once again, how they will validate it, right? It's a question mark. How they will validate it? Okay, so this is again a problem. So this is where the JWT comes and resolve this problem. So we will be seeing one by one how the JWT structure, how basically JWT works. So if you're seeing this picture, if you can see this picture, we have taken this picture from the internet, and I feel like it's very simple, so that's why. So this is, assume this is a party, this is a party 1 and this is party 2. Party 1 want to exchange some information from party, take some information from party 2, or party 2 want to share some information to party 1. Okay, how this happen with the use of JWT. Okay, so just be pay attention. So first, for the first request, it will first they will prove their authenticity by providing the user ID and password. So what happen is, once the authentication happen, server will once the user ID and password has been received, server will go to database and they will check the all the information of the client what they are providing is correct or not. If it is correct, what server will do is, server will prepare one JWT with secret. What is this secret? We will see these secrets in a very detailed way. And this token they will send it to the browser. Browser, what they will do is like they will be storing this JWT token, and for the further request they will probably attach this JWT. And what JWT says is like, you attach all your JWT token into the authorization header. Okay, in the header you will add one parameter, call it as a authorization, and then value will be as a bearer and your access token. Okay, looks good. So what client will do is like, it will attach the bearer token, and then they will send it request to the server. That server, this is my access token, grant me to view my profile picture, or grant me to allow me to call this APIs or something, whatever resources you need it actually. Then they will, again the server will validate the token what you are sending is correct or not, right? But there is a, but again you will ask me, same thing was happening on the session based authentication also, right? Client sent the session ID to the server, server validate that session ID in the server, and they allow them to access the resources, right? But wait, so in session based authentication, basically server was storing the session information. Okay, session information in the server itself. But here in JWT, they will not store any information into the server. But wait, so the question again comes is like, when when the browser, the client will send your access token, how the server will validate that access token? Very great question, and this we will be discussing now in a very detailed way. First, try to understand, server does not store any information into their server. First of all, before jumping into the actual mechanism, how clients sense the data, and then how server validates all this information, first let's jump into how JWT looks like basically, and what are the structures of JWT. So if you have never seen a JWT before, I will be here is the example. I've taken one from JWT.io. I prepare one JWT for you to have a look into it, and then this JWT.io is a great website. I can find it out into the internet. Please have a look, visit and have a look into it and play around with the JWT. So if you're seeing it here, this is the JWT from where I'm highlighting. And I have, as I've already told you, let me first highlight it. This is the first component, this is the second component, and here to here is the third component. So this yellow part from here to here is a header. Is a header. Okay. From here to here, not here. From here to here, actually, this is the payload. This is the payload. And till here to here, it's a signature. Okay. All three components are important here, and have it usage of it. So on the header section, if you'll see it, let me open the jwt.io first of all, and then you will be getting a clear picture about it, what I'm talking about basically. So if it is, this is how the JWT looks like, and I will be just try to open the jwt.io. So if you'll visit to the JWT.io website, you will find a lot of information about the JWT. This is the website, and I forgot that JWT is an industry standard, is defined under industry standard RFC 7519 method. Okay. Okay, for representing claim securely between two parties, I've already discussed about this. So okay, so if you'll scroll it down, you will find the more details about the the JWT token. So on the left side, what you are seeing is your prepared token on the basis of your what headers you have passed, what payload you have passed here, what payload you have passed, and what are signatures you have passed. So one by one discuss about all the details about it. The first one is the header. On the header, what are the two parameters you pass it? Algorithm, ALG, and type. So on the algorithm, which algorithm you want to use it to sign your JWT. Okay. So and at the top we do have multiple algorithms here. It is HS256, RS256. HS256 is and RS256 is the mostly used algorithms to sign the sign your JWT. 250, this one. Okay. So once we observed it, like once I change the algorithm, immediately the encoded JWT here on the left side get changed, right? And the signature also will change. So the important point to make it note here is, if anything you are changing here in the either on the payload or on the header or on the signature, immediately the signature will change. Okay. So right, so this is the part of the header. Second component is your payload. So what this component says is, like, what are the claims you want to pass it from the client to the server to prove your authenticity or authorization. Okay, so few of the common parameters what we pass it as a sub name, admin, this admin, or like that's a role basically, name, email ID you can pass it, your phone number you can pass it. IAT is nothing but issued at what time it has issued. Okay, so suppose that if I will change something here, okay, I will make it 5. Have you observed it? It immediately changed the signature on the left side, right? So this signature changes. So signatures depends upon your what headers and payload you are passing. On the basis of that, basically it will prepare the signature. Okay. So and then because it is RSA 256, it is they will ask you to pass the public and private key. This on the left side, what you are seeing is the JWT token is a base 64 encrypted data. Okay, then now the question comes, if it is a base 64, we can use any library, even we can use the JWT.io to decode it, right? And it is actually decoding it. If you're seeing it properly, so it is actually decoding it, right? On the left side it is encoded data, and on the right side, if you'll see, it is a decoded, it's showing it as a decoded data. So where is our the security? Don't worry about that. We you are on the secure place. Don't worry about that. So how we will identify whether the token what we are passing is secure or not? Now the time has come to know about more about this, how basically we have just learned about the basic about how JWT server created. And so this is the time where it comes to know about how basically JWT created on the server and how it sends back to the client, and then how server validate next. So server validate the JWT token. Okay, so before going to that one, first of all, if we'll choose the HS256, which is commonly used, and there is some problem in HS256 algorithm to using it. I will discuss more about this one. What are the problems in the coming session? Okay, so here what you have to. So if you'll see the last component, which is your signature, if we are chosen, it depends upon the algorithm what you are passing it. If you'll pass the HS256, it will ask you to add one secret. If you'll pass HS250 RS256 RS256, then it will ask you to pass your public and private key. And we'll see it like how we can work with the public and private key. Here you sort of to paste your public key and then the private key. Okay. Right, so this was the details about the your JWT token. Now we will discuss deep diver into how servers create the JWT, and how, if it is a base64 encrypted, how it is secure. And another question is like, if why server is not storing any information on it, and how it is getting validated. Okay, so if you'll see this picture once again. Okay, so first thing what happened, as I told you, you will pass the user ID and password. Your user ID password come to the server, then server will go to the database. As I already told you, go to the database and it will check the user ID and password is correct or not. What it will do is, instead of creating, if it is validated, it will pull some information, your maybe email ID, phone number, and then your client ID, something, your client ID. Okay, and then with these claims, this is called it as a claims of the users. And the very important thing, it will pull this information. Okay, okay, with this claim, actually it will try to prepare one JWT. Okay, so you basically define it into the server, into the server, what algorithm it has to use it to sign it. Okay, you have passed on the header what algorithm it has used to sign this JWT. And type will always be JWT, because we are using a JWT. And on the payload, what it happen is, in the payload, what these are the claims what you will pass it. Okay, like your mobile number, phone number, client ID, user ID maybe. But very important to note here is, server will not add any sensitive information into it. Okay, like a password or any secret key. They will not pass any secret information here. Okay, which they have pulled it out from the database. Okay, so hope you have understood. First of all, they will log in, they pass the user ID and password for authentication. Server finds out like the user ID password is correct, they pulled out some information from the database. Okay, okay. This is what you were doing it in the session based authentication also. It is going to the database, and then it pulls some information. On the basis of that one, it prepare one session and then send it back to the client, right? So here what they do is, they will check the headers, what are the head on the header, what are the algorithms it is using to pass. So some of the claims they will pass it here, like client ID, your phone number, user ID, issued at IAT, issued at what time this token is issued. Okay, expires, when it is going to expire. So those parameter also, server they pass it here. So because the we will see it like why this expiring the session, this access token is important. Okay, payload is prepared. Now here what the magics happen. Okay, on the signature part, what they will do is, the server will do is, the server will having one secret. Okay, this server will have one secret. Okay, one secret. With this secret, basically, what you this secret, they will add it into the signature. Okay, add it into the signature. It may be 1 2 3 4 5 anything, or hashed, or whatever maybe you can use some algorithm to hash this key also. Okay, so this they will pull the secret, and they will, with this secret, they will sign this JWT. Okay, this is a document. Okay, and they will sign it. Okay, digitally they sign it. Okay, they have prepared this. Just make a note. They have prepared this JWT, and with this secret, they will sign it. Okay. Now they will send this complete JWT to the client. They will not store any information in it. Please keep in mind that they will not store any information in it. Good, well and good. Now what will happen? Client will receive this JWT token. Now client can store this JWT token in any form, like any mechanism they can use it to store it. Session cookies or whatever they want to, not session, sorry, cookies they want to use it. So now once the client receives the JWT token, client can store this into cookies or some other mechanism. Now what it says is, like I've already discussed with you. So this JWT token have all the information. Okay, this JWT token, what the server have prepared, have all the information. What algorithm they have used, what are the payloads they have passed. Okay, what are the secret signature they have used. Now the client will add, as I will already explain you how JWT works. The client will add this JWT into authorization 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 bearer, your JWT token. Okay, in header. Okay, that's why JWT is called as a compact. They pass this into the header. That's the reason why it is encrypted into base 64. So that it does not, because it is going to pass onto the header, it does not make any confusion, and it does not add any special character into it, and it does not make any confusion into the URL. Okay, so clear. So the client will send the JWT on the authorization bearer header part. Okay, now server will receive again this JWT token. Okay, very good. Now server, how they will validate this? So what they will do is, first of all, they pull, because I told you, right, JWT how it look like. First of all, it have a header, payload, and the signature, right? So it will pull the your header part from that, the access token you have shared, your payload, what are the payloads you have shared. Okay, what are the payloads you have shared, and then they will sign it once again with this secret, what the secret it was having it. Okay, they'll sign once again with this secret, and they will try it. Once this again, it will prepare one JWT, encode it with the base 64, and sign it. Okay, once it is prepared, now it will compare with this one, the existing one. Okay, now it will compare with the existing one. If it is matched, then you are validated, you are authorized to go into it and use the resources. If it is not matched, then it will probably send you 1401 unauthorized code, right? So hope it makes sense. Hope it is makes sense and clear to you. So what I said is, like, once the server receive your JWT token into it, then they will do is, it will pull the header information, payload information, and then they already having a secret, right? They will already having a secret. With this secret, basically they will encode it, and they'll sign it once again, and then uh, once it is signed, they will compare with the existing one. If it is matching, you are allowed into it. If it not, it will return as a 401 unauthorized. Great, right? Makes sense. Now there is one question coming in your mind, that client have received your JWT token. Now someone on the middleman here, they will be listening your suppose that they were listening your request. Okay, so what they will do is, they will take your access token, your basically your JWT token, and what they will do is, here we do have a header, here you have your payload and the signature, right? So what they will do is, suppose that you have passed, they will take your header. Okay, they have taken the JWT actually. Okay, and they decoded it. Okay, they may have used the jwt.io, and they decoded it. They've seen it, like, okay, in which algorithm they are signing, and in your payloads also. Okay, the payloads may be user ID, username, email ID, and then some when it is going to expire, right? So okay, well and good. So what they will do is they will pass, instead of passing your email ID, they will pass their email ID. Maybe previously it was XYZ, now they have passed abc@gmail.com. Okay. So what will happen immediately into this JWT? What will happen immediately into the JWT is it will immediately change the signature, right? It will immediately change the signature. And once the server receive that JWT token, again it will pull the your header, your payload, what payload you have passed, and it will again encode and sign it. It will when it will start comparing, it will find out like the signature is different. So that's why reject the request. Okay, so that's where it clarifies it, like if it is either it's a base 64, you are still safe. So there is another question it will be coming on your mind, that I will be using the same user ID, same user you're the same payload, and then the same headers. Okay, I will be using the same header and the same payload. Okay, and then what I will do is I will sign it. I will sign it with with the same headers and the same payload. What will happen now? Will you allow the server will allow to enter into it? No, it will not allow you, because you can get the header, you can get the payloads, but you will not never get the signature. Signature cannot be decoded. Okay, signature will always be in encoded format. You cannot decode the signatures. Okay, so the important here is, and this secret will always be available on the server side. Client never hold the secrets of it. So the important here is to know is, server always hold the secrets, client never hold the secrets. Okay, so either if you're getting the headers and the payload also, but secret you will never get it, because as I already told, it will you cannot decode the secret. Okay, so XYZ, if some secret you will pass it and then sign it, then once the server receive the JWT token here, it will, what I told, it will pull the header here, and then the payload, and then it server have their own signature, right, a secret, right? So it will take the secret, they will sign it, and then mm, once they will sign it, what they will start comparing with this one, and they find out like, oh, both are not matching, right? So if it is not matching, immediately reject it with the 401 unauthorized. Hope this makes sense and clear to you. If this is clear to you, we do have another topic to discuss. What is access token and what is access versus refresh token? So this JWT, right? The JWT, this JWT, when they prepare prepare and sign it, they send it in a form of access token, which we call it as an access token. Okay. Once the server prepare this access token, this JWT access token, at that time on response they send it one refresh token also. And then what is the usage of this refresh token is, um, sometime after some time, because I told you, right, on the payload you pass it when this is going to expire, when this JWT token, access token, your uh, either you call it as a JWT token or access token, when this access token is going to expire, you given the time, maybe you have given the time of 2 days. Okay, after 2 days, when the client will send the same your access token, because it is expired, you will send them, okay, it is expired. Then what you do is, the client, what they does is, they send this, instead of this they check it basically with the condition, if this is expired, if saying it is expired, then probably send this refresh token. Okay, send this refresh token. What the refresh token is nothing but it have a capability to expire after some duration of time. Maybe you can configure it to expire it after 30 days or 40 days or 1 year. Someone kept it at a 1 year also. So what they will do is, like, the client send the refresh token to the server, and then and with while looking into this refresh token, server will prepare a new JWT access token, sign it and send it to the browser. Again, that access token will be valid for 2 days, right? So and if I take an example, you do you remember really like when you have last login your Google or your Facebook account? No, right? So this is the mechanism how it is works. When the browser sends the server and it figure it out like okay, this is access token is expired, then what they send another request with the refresh token. This is our refresh token, or what sometimes it does is like they in each every request they send the access token as well as the refresh token. Okay, if it is expired, take this refresh token. With this refresh token, prepare a new JWT access token and then send it to me. So if once it is expired, client will receive it. Again, they will store the updated access token into it and with the along with the refresh token. Right. Hope this makes clear to you what is the usage of the access and refresh token. So next we will talking about what is public and private key, how we can how we can leverage into this public and private key and make it more secure in our scenario. Okay, so first of all we'll try to understand what exactly this public and private where and what is the usage of it. So in our jwt.io, if you've observed it, like on the header side we will having a two parameters. One was algorithm. So on the algorithm, if you have chosen it to make your digital signature to sign your JWT digitally as a RS256, then basically on the signature side you will be required two fields. You will needing a two fields. One is the public key, your public key, and your private key. So if you're talking about the RSA side, the RSA private key, the private key, which private key we will be passing it here, and we will see it how we can generate this RSA public and private key. So this RSA private key is used to generate the digital signature. Okay, means this is used to sign your digital signature. Okay, and this and the RSA public key is used to verify your digital signature. Okay, clear, makes sense, right? So you have generated the RSA key pair, the public and private key. I will show you how the RSA key pair, RSA public and private key looks like, and then it makes sense, right? So hope it is clear. The private key is used to generate the digital signature, means sign your signature. Okay, and public key basically we use it to verify your digital signature. Now we'll see it like how basically we can generate this RSA public and private key. There is again there is a website. I've already opened one website which help you it's a very simple command. As OpenSSL can help you to generate your PEM file basically with a private and public key. So you can see the commands here what it has passed. OpenSSL generate out private key, and with this private key basically you can generating your public key. Okay, both are related. With this private key, this public key will be used. Okay, and then you save it. And this 3072 is the bit length, how much bit length you basically require to maybe it can be larger also. Okay, so and then here is the pfx, how to get you can convert it. And this is how your once it is generated, this is how your public and private key will be look like. Okay, this is your private key if you're seeing it here, and this is your public key. So this private key this private key basically will be using it to sign the JWT. Okay, sign the JWT, and this is your public key, which this public key will be used to verify that signature. Make sense and clear? So if you have understood it clearly, how basically how we can generate the RSA public and private key, then we will try to understand how we can utilize this public and private key in our scenario, and what exactly the problem is in our current scenario. So what was our current scenario is like, suppose that this is your party 1 and this is your party 2. Okay, party 2, and uh, that was a monolith architecture. I will just take it as in a microservices architecture. This is server 1, this is server 2, this is server 3. Okay, And there is one also, maybe I will make another auth service. Okay, auth service. So what was the problem? So suppose that this client have passed the user ID and password. Okay, they have passed the user ID and password for for authenticating it. Okay, very good, clear. They have generated one JWT, and this auth service were having one secret, right? This auth service will hold one secret, correct? This is your secret key actually. So the customer have passed the user ID and password, and this request has gone to the auth service. There's maybe it's a load balancer here. They after looking after looking into the request, it passed the request to auth service to authenticate it. They have checked the user ID password is correct, and they prepare one JWT for it. And once that is prepared, they will sign that the JWT with one of the secret, right? I told you, right, there will be one secret on the service which will use it to make your digital signature. Okay, so they prepare it and they send it to the client. Okay, they have stored it somewhere. Okay, once they are redirected to the next for the next call, now they have attached this the bearer token into it. Okay, and then they are requesting for some resources. Okay, which maybe it is available on this server or maybe any other server, right? The S3 will pull the header from the token, payload from the token, and then they will again sign it. How they will sign it? So this secret will be distributed to all of the servers, all three servers, the secrets, what auth service was holding it, right? S1, S2, S3. Then they will pull this secret here in S3 from the S3, and they will prepare they will sign it with the secret, and they will compare it compare it whether this is correct or not. If it is correct, then they will send the response. They will send the response. Okay, looks good for me. Allow them to take the resources. Okay, well and good. But still, do you see some problem here? What is the problem? The problem is there is some secret information which is getting shared between multiple servers, right? So assume this secret server, you want to rotate it, you want to change it after a month, you want to change it the secret. So again, once suppose that it was ABC, now it will be 1 2 3. So this 1 2 3 secret will be distributed to another, all of the servers, and you have to manage somehow, automate it, or you should have to share this secrets to the to different servers. And if you're sharing this secrets to multiple server, maybe again it's a risk. It's a risk has been measured here, because maybe if it is automated or manually, these secrets, if it is a manual, and the risk is very higher, because maybe this will be distributed some other places also. So the folder where you're keeping it into the servers, right? There may be it's a measured risk that's not protected with your security person. So you're seeing it like this. There's some problem in it. How we can overcome with it? So to overcome this problem, basically we use a symmetric way. This is called it as a symmetric way, symmetric cryptography algorithms, where you are maintaining secrets in at multiple places. So this is where this to resolve this problem, we have an RSA algorithm, and it is an asymmetric cryptographic algorithm. And asymmetric actually means that itself it's work on a two different keys, one with the public key and the private key. As the name described, that the public key is given to everyone and the private key will be kept as a private. Okay, okay, enough statement. Let's discuss this. So actually I've decided to split this video into two parts because it is going very longer, and still we have topic to cover. So I have splitted this video into two parts, and on the first part we will be discussing majorly on the JWT part, and the second part, what is basically you're signing your JWT with a secret, what is the problem in it, and how we can overcome with this problem with using with the use of RSA public and private key, how basically we can generate it and all those information we'll be using it. And what are the some of the best practices? What are the things you should have to do it for getting your JWT more secure?